How many people? Hi, welcome to Tuesdays with Troy. I am Troy, and today we are discussing key 2 of the 9 keys to freedom after heartbreak. So, key 2 is knowing that your crutch is just a crutch. Now, I'm committed that you take away 3 things during this conversation or at the end of this conversation. One, that you're able to understand exactly what your crutch is. 2, you're able to understand how you can use your crutch, and you're also able to understand how you can misuse your crutch. And 3, that you actually get to the source of the real reason why we as human beings reach for crutches. And this real reason has something to do with a secret truth that we don't even want to tell ourselves. Okay, so before I go any further, I want to be really clear on what it is I mean by a crutch when I say a crutch. So we know that there's the standard crutch that we've seen in the world. You walk around, people walk around on that when they have a broken leg or whatever. But I'm talking about emotional crutches. So a crutch, an emotional crutch, is any object that you reach for, that you use, and it gives you instant gratification, instant comfort during very strenuous or emotional times, such as heartbreak. Okay, so it's that thing that you reach for to bring comfort in the midst of pain. And I call it an emotional crutch because emotional crutch, we usually reach for these crutches, these emotional crutches, when we have emotional injuries. And heartbreak is an emotional injury. So, what I'd like you to do, I'd like you to think of your crutch like a real crutch and think of your heartbreak like a broken leg. So, if you have a broken leg, you reach for a crutch and you use that to move forward in life until your leg is healed, in this case, until your heart is healed, and then you're able to take on the proper therapy that would actually lead your leg back to its normal functioning ability, or in this case, it will lead your heart back to its normal functioning ability. Okay, I mean, obviously, there's going to be a little bit of scar tissue. It's inevitable in the healing process. But right now, we'll look at that later on. Right now, we're going to look at the crutches. Exactly what crutch is it? What crutch do you reach for? How long should you hold on to that crutch? And why are you really reaching for your crutch? Okay, so those are the things we're looking for. And also, we're going to help you distinguish your crutch, which crutch you do use during your time of emotional stress. Okay, so I want you to know 2 things before we get started. 2 more things, okay? There are 2 kinds of crutches. There are emotional crutches, there are positive crutches and there are negative crutches. So a positive crutch, a positive emotional crutch may be music, or it may be meditation, or it could be exercising, okay? A negative crutch is alcohol, drugs, anything that produces a negative effect. Now, here's the trick about crutches. Whether it's negative or positive, a crutch can be negative if you allow it to replace your feet, if you allow it to have you forget that you can't move without it. Like if you really start taking on in your life that without your crutch you just can't move forward. Okay, so there are negative crutches, there are positive crutches, and a negative crutch is negative even if it's positive initially, if it stops you from moving forward. So we want to learn to use your crutches just to get to point A, get to point B, get from point A to point B. And then once you get to point B, there comes a time when you're going to put your crutch down and you're going to walk on your own. Now, I just want to let you know right off the bat, I am not having this conversation with you to try and convince you to kick your crutch. Okay, that is not the intention at all today. As a matter of fact, if my simply suggesting you kick your crutch was enough to have you kick your crutch, it probably really isn't a crutch, because a crutch is something that you absolutely depend on. You find a lot of comfort in it, and someone simply asking you to kick your crutch is not going to be enough to have you kick your crutch. Okay, so this conversation is not about having you kick your crutch at all. This conversation is not about having you feel bad about the crutch you're choosing to use. My intention is really to get you present to the fact that you do have a crutch, and I want you to understand that your crutch is something you own, and it's imperative that you understand that you own your crutch before your crutch owns you. Okay? The other thing that I'd like you to know is that a lot of emotional crutches end up becoming addictions. So it's very important that you're clear on what your crutch is, how to use it, how not to misuse it, and why you really use it. So what we're going to do is we're going to look and see what your crutch is. So I'd like you, if you have the book at home with you, please turn to page 36. We're going to go over that exercise. And if you don't have the book, please just simply get out a pen and a piece of paper, because I'm going to be asking you some questions that I'd like you to fill in. And at that point, we're going to start distinguishing exactly what your crutch is. So sitting in with me today is Melissa, and Melissa is working the keyboard, and she will be taking any questions that you have during this broadcast. And I will be asking you for specific I will be asking you to participate in specific ways. Excuse me, I'm a little tongue-tied. I'll be asking you to participate in specific ways as the broadcast goes on. Okay, so Melissa, would you say hello? You can't see her, but she's really cute.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, so are there any questions as of yet, Melissa?
Not yet, Troy.
Okay, wonderful. So we are going to go on. So how do you find out what your emotional crutch is? Okay, this is what I want you to ask yourself. When you're upset and you need to shift your mood instantly, what activity quickly does the trick for you? Okay, when you're upset and you need to shift your mood instantly, what activity quickly does the trick for you? Okay, so for me, when I'm upset and I need to shift my mood instantly, I love Chardonnay. I will reach for a glass of white wine. That's it. Just got to go and have my Chardonnay, and it just does the trick instantly for me. So one glass is cool, but what happens is that one glass becomes 2 glasses, becomes 3 glasses, and then out come the cigarettes. Okay, so that's my crutch. My crutch is Chardonnay and cigarettes. So it does the trick for me. So what is it that does the trick for you? What do you reach for? And so you want to write, I reach for my emotional crutch when I am what? When do you reach for your emotional crutch? And then the next thing I'd like you to write is, while using my emotional crutch, my focus is on, and then fill in that blank. And the third thing is, my emotional crutch also enables me to what? Then you fill in that blank. So for me, I reach for my emotional crutch when I feel abandoned. And while using my emotional crutch, my focus is on giving myself what I want because he didn't. Okay? And my emotional crutch also enables me to feel good about myself, and I feel as if I am taking care of myself and spoiling myself really at any cost, because my ex is no longer there to do it. Okay? So again, you want to ask yourself this question: when you're upset and you need to shift your mood, what activity quickly does the trick for you? And then fill in the blank. I reach for my emotional crutch when, fill in the blank. While using my emotional crutch, my focus is on, and fill in the blank. And my emotional crutch also enables me to, and then fill in the blank. Okay. All right. Do we have any questions, Melissa? No? Okay. All right. So we're looking at your emotional crutch. What happens once you realize that you have an emotional crutch? What happens is you forget that your emotional crutch is an emotional crutch. You actually start collapsing that behavior with your reality of yourself, and then you start moving forward, knowing inside that you need that crutch in order to move forward, but not understanding that you chose that crutch as a compensation for an injury. So we accidentally start creating behavior that leads, unfortunately, to addiction. So it's really important that you understand that your emotional crutch is just a crutch. Now we're going to look at the real reason why you reach for that crutch. But before we do, Melissa, do you want to share about your emotional crutch? What is your emotional crutch?
Yeah, my emotional crutch is eating.
Eating, okay.
Eating healthy food like salads and more salads, to eating junk food like chips and chocolate.
Okay.
So any kind of food. That's my crutch.
Any kind of food.
Yes.
Okay, and when do you reach for your emotional crutch? What's your experience when you reach for it? Like for me, I reach for my emotional crutch when I feel abandoned. Yeah.
I reach for my emotional crutches when I feel lonely.
Mm-hmm.
When I feel alone.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so it's really important that you're clear about your emotional crutch, what your emotional crutch is, when you reach for it, and why. So that you actually bring it to your conscious mind, okay? So now it's time to take an honest look at what really has you reach for that emotional crutch. The bottom line is we really reach for our crutches when we don't want to face our secret truth about ourselves. I'm going to say that again. We really reach for our crutches when we don't want to face that secret truth about ourselves. And that secret truth about ourselves that we don't want to face only hits us between the eyes when we experience heartbreak. That's really when it's most prevalent. When we experience heartbreak, what comes up is that secret truth. And so that we don't have to face that secret truth, we actually reach for a crutch because we need to step over it, step over it, step over it until we forget that secret truth again. Okay? The secret truth, the thing about the secret truth, it's also the thing that disappears when you're in a romantic relationship. You meet someone, you fall in love, and that secret truth that haunts you suddenly falls into the background of your mind, and this person is loving you, and that secret truth becomes a lie. When that person is no longer with you and you're working on becoming ex-free, it's that secret truth that has us pick up those crutches so that we can make it forward, get out of bed one more day without having to believe that secret truth about ourselves. Now, the secret truth is not the truth. It's not even close to the truth, but guess what? It's your truth, so it's there, and whether it's the truth in the world or not doesn't matter. It is your truth. So your secret truth may be something like I'm unlovable, or I'm not worthy, or I'm a bad person. And my case, my secret truth is I'm incapable of doing it by myself. Like I'm inadequate. That's my secret truth. And that's what I don't want to have to deal with when an ex leaves. So I reach for the Troy crutches, okay? So how do you find your secret truth? Well, how you find your secret truth is I want you to make a list of the reasons why you feel you reach for your crutch, okay? So this is a really quick list that you make. And you want to look and see why you reach for your crutch. So an example, I would say, I reach for my crutch when I feel abandoned. I reach for my crutch when I feel alone. I reach for my crutch when I feel sad. I reach for my crutch when I feel like I can't do it on my own, right? And of course, not doing it on my own has a lot to do with feelings of inadequacy. So what you want to do is make a list for yourself right now of why you reach for your crutch, okay? So, Melissa, what do you come up with your secret truth? Do you have something?
My secret truth is that I'm not lovable.
That you...
Yeah, and so when I'm in a relationship, I feel lovable. And then when we break up, all of a sudden I don't feel lovable anymore. Even though there are people around me, like my family and my friends, that I know love me.
Right, right. That's a great point. So that's exactly what happens. When you're in a relationship, all of a sudden that secret truth that lives as the truth for you becomes a lie. Like in Melissa's case, she's not lovable. Well, if someone's loving her, then that her secret truth is a lie. She puts it in the back burner. When that person's gone, what comes to the front burner again is I'm not lovable.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, Troy, before we go on, one of our viewers has a comment about crutches.
Yes.
And one of our viewers says that they seem to reach for any kind of emotional crutch at some point every day. How messed up is that? Is dancing a crutch? If so, I'm in big trouble.
Dancing is a crutch if it helps you move forward when you're dealing with an emotional injury. Remember that you will only use a crutch if you have an emotional injury. Well, I'm not going to say only because it actually can become an addiction. But what begins first, what's there first is the emotional injury. You can't move forward. You're debilitated. You're stopped. you reach for the emotional crutch. Now, yes, anything can be an emotional crutch. Absolutely, dancing. I don't know why you'd be in trouble if the only way you'd be in trouble if dancing is your crutch is if you used that crutch to avoid dealing with your emotional injury. So you actually never got to the source of your upset, and then you eventually forget that your crutch is just a crutch because you start mistaking your crutch for your feet. Right? So you want to remember that your crutch is not you. Your dancing is not you. Your dancing is what you do to deal with an emotional injury for the time being. Yeah.
Thank you, Troy. And one more question.
Yes.
Drugs and alcohol are just a means to let go. Why does a crutch need to be a vice?
Well, a crutch doesn't need to be anything other than what it is. I mean, a crutch is a crutch. But okay, if drugs and alcohol are a means to let go, obviously there's something you're holding on to that you need to let go of. And I'd like you to consider what you're holding on to is that secret truth that you don't want to hold on to. So in order to let go of that secret truth, you go to drugs. I'm just saying, if that's what you use for a crutch, you would go to drugs and alcohol so you can let go and not hold on to that space, that experience that the secret truth leaves you in. And if you want to call it a vice, you can call it a vice. It doesn't have to be that. Yeah. Nothing's etched in stone. Yes, any more? That's okay. All right. So we're looking at secret truths. So when you are crutching, it's important to remember that your secret truth is what is running the show. Okay? And you're holding on to that crutch so that you can let go, as one viewer just said, you can let go. You want to let go of that, whatever is there in the background that's caused by that secret truth. So you crutch your way through it. Okay, when you are crutching, your secret truth is running the show. So just know that. There's nothing to do about it. Your secret truth is never going away. I am so sorry to tell you. It may disappear. It may, vanish for 2 years or 3 years if you're in a loving relationship and this person makes you feel absolutely lovable when your secret truth is you're unlovable. It's never going to go away. It's something that was actually created when you were probably, between the ages of 4 and 9, okay? And it's just a part of you. And so there's nothing wrong. There's just something to be aware of. It's just when you're crutching, just know, okay, my secret truth is running the show. And you want to get present to your secret truth. And then you want to empower yourself because you don't want your secret truth to run the show. It may be present, it may be there in your life, but you don't want it to run the show. There's one director in your life, and that's you. You got a lot of talent. Got a lot of talent running around your set, which is your head. But you want to run the show of your life. So when your secret truth is running the show and you find yourself crutching, you want to start empowering yourself. And how you empower yourself is you find one thing, just find one thing that allows you to make a liar out of your secret truth. So you want to find one thing that's contrary to your secret truth. So if your secret truth is I'm not worthy, then you want to start volunteering at like a soup kitchen, okay? Take your emotional crutch with you and just hobble on over to some place that makes you feel worthy, because the sooner you can actually lessen the impact of your secret truth in your life, the sooner you'll let go of your crutch, okay? So you want to start moving away from that secret truth reality. So if it's I'm not worthy, then you want to start moving towards I am worthy, I am worthy, I am worthy. Okay, if your secret truth is I'm not lovable, then volunteer at a children's hospital or volunteer at some animal rescue mission. You want to start giving love, okay? So you want to start getting away from the I'm not lovable by loving, and that'll actually help put the secret truth on the back burner, loosen your grip on your crutches. Or if you're like me, if your secret truth is that you're not capable of doing it on your own, go and be with communities. Just go and be with communities and do it all for the community. Just take on being leaders in different communities. There's so many communities that need leaders. So you just want to start taking actions that are contrary to whatever it is that your secret truth is. Okay? Do we have any questions about secret truth, Melissa?
Yes, Troy, one of our viewers wants to know is the goal to let go of the secret truth?
The goal, yes, is to let go, or to have the secret truth let go of you. Because you're holding on to your crutch so that you can walk, because your secret truth has got you so strong and it's just such a powerful pull. So it's really to have it let go of you, or you could say to let go of it. You want to put it in the back. You want to put it on the back burner of your life. Okay? When you're crutching, your secret truth is running the show. You always want to be the one running your show. And this is why crutches are a great thing, because they really do help you over the humps that show up as a result of secret truths running the show. Okay? Anything else?
Yes, one of our viewers wants to know if you endorse the 12-step method.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a huge fan of the 12-step program. Absolutely. 100%. Actually, that's one of the things that I was going to talk about in a little while. And I still will talk about that, but I am a huge fan of the 12-step program, and I've spent a lot of time volunteering with Alcoholics Anonymous and doing a lot of research and work with people who are, excuse me, just in that transitional space in rehab. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, so how do you live a crutch-free life? Well, one, be aware of what your crutch is. Two, understand that your crutch is present because your secret truth is on the front burner of your life and it's leading the way. What woke your secret truth up, what brought it to the forefront of your life, is the heartbreak, okay? Just be aware of the process. Once you're aware of the process and you can start owning how you operate as a human being, then circumstances won't own you. And all that is, the source to that is just being aware and just being present. There's really nothing to do, like there's nothing wrong. You don't have to go freaking out and checking into some sort of mental institution or whatever. Just start being present and know how you work. Okay? And when your secret truth starts to show its head, make sure that you create a truth that's contrary to that. And then here's the other secret to putting your secret truth on the back burner. You want to start existing in the eyes of others in a way that's contrary to your secret truth. So that's why I say, if your secret truth is that you're unlovable, you want to put yourself in a situation where you can be experienced as lovable, not by yourself, but by others. If your secret truth is that you're unworthy, then you want to put yourself in a situation that you can start being viewed as worthy, not by yourself, but by others. Okay? Because we exist in the experience of the observer. All right? I'm going to say that again. We exist in the experience of the observer. Okay? And I hope that communicates. Who we are is really out there. Okay? So if someone is experiencing us as lovable and worthy and all that, that actually gets on us. And then that's how we start experiencing ourselves. So you want to get out of this monologue and get into dialogue. Get out in the world and be with people and let them see the side of you that you want to be seen as. Okay? Okay, so here's the bad news about emotional crutches. There is bad news about emotional crutches. If you don't recognize that your crutch is not you, in a matter of time, your life will be dependent upon your crutch. So if you don't recognize that your crutch is not you, your life will be dependent upon your crutch. So here's an example. If you use drugs as a crutch, there'll come a day when you won't even have the choice whether or not to use. You will actually be addicted, and you will collapse who you are with your crutch. You will be addicted. You will be a drug abuser. So you really want to keep that line drawn in the sand. There's who you are, and then there's your crutch. Line in the middle. Okay? Now, here's the good news about emotional crutches. Crutches are red flags. They're red flags to inform you that you're injured. They're red flags to let you know that your secret truth is running the show. They're red flags to let you know that there's really nothing to heal, just something to reveal. And whatever you reveal, you get to transform. Okay? They're just like wake-up calls. There's just something that needs to be transformed. So you also want to allow your crutches to support you during your difficult times, okay? Just allow them, have fun, and be careful. Don't hurt anyone. Like I said, my thing is Chardonnay. I don't go and drive after I have 2 glasses of Chardonnay, but I do enjoy my Chardonnay. So whatever your crutch is, it'd be great if you had a safe crutch like dancing. I can't imagine that would be a dangerous crutch, but just get clear on what it is. Use it. Don't misuse it. And if you should ever forget that your emotional crutch is just a crutch and accidentally become addicted, I have some very serious advice for you about that, okay? Because it can happen. And remember, a lot of addictions originated as emotional injuries. And the emotional injuries caused the person to reach for an emotional crutch. And after forgetting that the crutch was not their feet, they accidentally become addicted. And then here's what happens. If you become addicted because you've misused an emotional crutch, I want you to make sure that you get 2 forms of treatment, because now you have 2 issues here. You've got to get 1 form of treatment for your addiction to treat the addiction, and you got to get another form of treatment to treat the emotional injury. Okay? It's very important. Do not collapse those 2 things. They're so separate. There's your emotional injury. There's the addiction. Like I said, I spent a lot of time going to meetings, and there were so many people that were suffering, and even though they were in recovery, they were just still suffering because they were treating the addiction, but they forgot that the addiction was just a crutch that they picked up so that they could deal with an emotional injury, and that emotional injury never got treated. So it's still there, which is why there's sometimes, I think, there's still a craving for that crutch, that drug. So if you do accidentally become addicted, again, please make sure that you get 2 forms of treatment, 1 for the emotional injury and 1 for the crutch that became an addiction. Okay? You gotta promise me that. You guys promise? Okay, yes.
All right, Troy. Well, first of all, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in and asking all these questions. And I want to assure everybody that we'll be getting to all the questions in time. So going back to the crutch, okay. One viewer does have a question. They said, it sounds like a lot of work. Sticking to the crutch seems far easier. How do I motivate myself?
Okay, it sounds like a lot of work sticking to the crutch. Well, the crutch is, see, this is exactly what I mean. The crutch is easier to hang on to because then you just, every day you get to crutch it. You just get to crutch it through life. And then what happens, you wake up one day and you forget that you actually have feet because you've been crutching it for so long. Now, how do you motivate yourself? I personally don't like motivation. I think motivation sucks. If someone says get motivated, I get tired. It's like motivation feels like work to me. So you're right. Motivation is work. It's like getting motivated to go to the gym. You don't get motivated. So I say this to people who want to know how to get motivated. Don't. That's just work. Get inspired. That's what you get. You get inspired. When you're inspired, you're in spirit. And when you're in spirit, you're in action, and then you produce results. Okay, motivation is that like rah, rah, yeah, positive thinking, la, 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 which is great to think positive, but I think a deeper place to come from is inspiration, because then you don't have to worry about me being motivated. So in terms of your question and the work and the crutch, find something that inspires you. Look and see what your crutch is, and look and see what would inspire you. So for me, when I deal with the smoking, I get inspired. I start thinking about, wow, my son's going to have children one day. I want to be around for my son, to see my son's child. There's nothing that's going to motivate me there. That's inspiration. I get in spirit. I get start feeling all motherly, and I can't wait, and I hope it's a girl, and I get all inspired, and then I start every day. It's like 1 cigarette less, 1 cigarette less, 1 cigarette less, and then there are no cigarettes. So forget motivation, you guys. Get inspired. Find something that touches your spirit, and you will produce results like you never imagined possible.
All right, Troy, thank you. Now, another viewer has another question regarding the 12 steps. They ask, how do you feel about contacting people you may have hurt and the fact of bringing it back up to them?
Well, that's a really, I think it's step 6, right? Amending the wrongs. This is a thing. You have to be careful, you're right, because people don't want to be vomited on. You know, just because you're transforming doesn't mean that they need to, you know, be so impacted. So there is a way to do it, and that's why it's important to work with your sponsor on the steps, because your sponsor has gone through that particular step, and he or she can have you create conversations that are designed to empower the person that you're speaking to, as opposed to upsetting them. And the number one thing to always remember if you are interested in having a completion conversation with someone is that you want to create it as an opportunity for them in their listening. You want to create your words, the words that you're going to say. You want them to be words that this human being would hear and be touched by. Like, wow, that was such an opportunity to hear someone apologize to me like that. Okay? But if you're doing it just to vomit on them, go back and do step 5 and work with your sponsor. I think it's step 6, yeah. But yeah, just be careful. Make sure your conversations, your cleanup conversations occur as an opportunity and the other person's listening. Okay. Anything else?
No, not right now. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so you guys, those are great questions. Thank you. I think it's fantastic. I can really feel that you are committed to transforming your relationship to your crutches. And the important thing is to just get present to the fact that as human beings, you know, there is no way that we're going to be perfect, and you shouldn't even aspire to be perfect. Just be present, be responsible. And when you are emotionally injured, you will reach for an emotional crutch, and know that it's because your secret truth is running the show. And then put some inspiration out there in your future and watch and see how that crutch, you know, your grip begins to loosen up on that crutch. And by the way, your crutch is going to be around for a long time, because as long as you're breathing, you're going to have emotional injuries. It's just part of life, and your crutches will change. But just, you know, kind of keep it in the corner. You ever see people, they've got the crutch in the corner? Not like you want to create that as a future for yourself, but just know that it's going to come up, and it's going to be okay to reach for that emotional crutch sometimes. It's your way of taking care of yourself for now.
Troy, we do have another question.
Mm-hmm.
Someone wants to know, if your crutch is created when a relationship is terminated by loss, death of a loved one, how is one able to move ahead?
If your crutch is created, okay, so you move ahead by crutching. That's what a crutch is for. You've got this crutch that was created out of grief. You got a crutch and move forward, and look and see where your secret truth is coming up here. There's a secret truth somewhere that's, you know, running the show. See what that is and take actions contrary to that secret truth. Whatever it is for you, you want to take actions contrary to the secret truth and see yourself through the eyes of others, okay, in a positive way. So if your secret truth after the grief is maybe people I love leave me, well, you'll crutch, and then go and find some people that are not going to, you know what, it'd be really great, go work at a, well, I don't know if that's a great, but like volunteer at a nursery or something, you know, go and be around children. Their life is just like so young and full and rich, and they're blossoming, and it might help you to appreciate the span of life. Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, someone just tuned in.
Hello, welcome.
And they said that today their ex called to show concern about stressful things they're going through. I'm just going to read it word for word.
Sure.
The way that so that we don't have any confusion. I felt the urge to ask him to tell me the truth when I found a Valentine's card he'd received from a woman. Should I have pursued that feeling? I chose at that moment to let the feeling go, but it bothers me.
The question is, should she have... I'm not clear, Melissa. What's the question?
Should they have pursued their feeling of confronting their ex about a situation that happened?
Well, sure. Yeah, that's your feelings. You follow your feelings. There's no... You got to be in communication with people. Yeah, that's, I tell you, we second guess ourselves all the time, don't we? It's like, should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I? Listen, there's no should or shouldn'ts. All that there is what's so, and being present in the moment. That's what I'm saying. Just be present to your life. Be present and be responsible. If you're being present, you feel that what there is for you to do is to share your feelings about a specific thing. If you can do it in a responsible way, absolutely. If you can't do it in a responsible way, don't do it. I mean... we really just got to start taking better care of each other, and it starts in language, But you have a right to pursue your feelings, absolutely.
Now, Troy, regarding couples that are divorced, we do have someone on here who has been going through a divorce. It sounds like it's been going well, and they ask, is it possible to need a crutch even if you divorce amicably?
I think you read my book. Yes, I divorced amicably, and I still crutched. I still had an emotional injury because my secret truth was I'm inadequate. I can't do it on my own. So I'm divorced now, but I had to crutch through it. Yes, absolutely. So the answer is yeah. Yeah, you know your secret truth. It has you reach for that, Okay.
All right. Another question?
Yes.
How about work? I have a job I love, but they make it totally not fun to be there. How do I deal with that?
Is work a crutch? I think that's a little out of... let's see. Work is not fun. Well, I don't really know what to say other than quit or make it fun. It's kind of that simple. I mean, whose life is it? You're the creator of your life. Your life by design. Who's the designer? You. Make it fun or quit. You know what? I decided, it's really interesting. I decided if I'm not having fun doing it and it doesn't bring me joy, I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not going to. No matter what it is. If I'm not having fun, I am taking my toys out of the sandbox and I'm going home. Period. Why else do it? There are consequences to that, of course, If you walk out of your job because you're not having fun, you're going to have some challenges paying the rent. But yeah, I just think we got to create fun and choose. Make it fun if you can't quit. Find something. Yeah. Great. Anything else, Melissa?
Doesn't look like it. We have one Ustreamer who's asking to see me. They've asked twice, can they see me? So
Melissa, come on over. Yes, of course you can see Melissa.
Okay.
This is Melissa. You'll be seeing Melissa next week. We're getting a split box so that she can be on screen. This is Melissa.
Maybe on this
Here.
side.
There you go.
Hello, everyone.
Why don't you sit down and tell them a little bit about yourself?
Okay, great. Well, my name is Melissa. I've been working with Troy. I've known Troy for the last 4 years, and we met when we were both doing transformational work. And like you, I'm very inspired by her, and it's my pleasure to be here every week with you guys, taking your questions and responding and being the liaison between you and Troy. And I do want to say, congratulations on going through this process. And like I said, it's just an honor to be here with you guys. And I work with Troy, and I'm also a staff member at a university. And, I'm really up for creating a life full of freedom, and ex-free is part of that process. So
Fun.
and fun, yeah. So
Thank you
thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. Okay, that's the posse. We have one more person. We have Zach. You'll meet Zach eventually too. Zach, say hello.
Hi. Hi, guys.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's see what time. Any more questions? We're going to be wrapping it up. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, we do have some questions.
Great.
Oh, they said it's so better to see the people. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I
Thank you.
agree, and it's so funny because when I turn to talk to her, I really know my left profile is not what you want to be looking at. So we are going to work on having Melissa on camera next week. Thank you. I appreciate, by the way, all of your thoughts, suggestions, and or opinions regarding the show, what we could do to make it a better service for you, the viewers, because we are here for you, and it's a privilege and pleasure to be here for you. So.
All right, Troy. Yeah, we have a question. Someone said, I broke up with somebody I work with. How do I get over her if I have to see her every day? I seem to keep needing the crutch because of that.
Yeah, that's really a great question. This is the thing. You have a broken leg and you're still walking on it. You see, you're seeing her every day. So metaphorically speaking, you may be crutching, but when you crutch, you have to take all of that pressure off the broken leg. And so every time you see her, it's almost like you don't have the crutch. You're walking on a broken leg. You need time to heal and crutch, right? So there is something that you can do. And if you have my book, X Free, 9 Keys to Freedom After Heartbreak, there's chapter 7 is creating labels that work for you. And that's what it's time for you to do. You're going to need to shift your context because you're still holding her in a context that's not consistent with your experience of her right now. So we're going to need to create a new label for her that's consistent with your experience of her, okay? That's really important. So please contact me at www.troybyer.com and I will work with you on that. Because we've got to shift your context. Context is decisive. Once you shift the context, it'll be okay for you to be around her, but I really wish that you'd stay off that leg a little bit, meaning your heart, and try to not be around her until you can at least get her into a different context. Okay.
All right, Troy. In consideration of everyone who's tuning in,
Yes.
Some people have questions and they may not necessarily be regarded to the crutch, but I'm going to go ahead and ask them anyway.
Sure, that's fine. We
Okay.
can open it up now.
Okay, great.
Absolutely. Thank you, Melissa.
Yeah, so the youth streamer who asked the question about work and not loving work, not having fun there, they also asked, how about family? I have 4 children. Can you tell me about how to spend equal time with them?
Yeah, what are their ages? That's really important. And I'm not an expert in this area, so I'm only going to be able to speak to you as a mother. Maybe, well, that does make me an expert to a certain extent, but I have just one son. But I'll tell you what I do. I ask him, how can I best facilitate your need to have mommy time? What can I do? What would it look like? I ask him and I let him design it because I'm only really committed to pleasing him, right? And creating experiences that please him. So why not ask him? Otherwise, it's like, shooting in the dark because I tell you, one moment I think he wants me in his room reading him a book and the next one moment he's like, ew, mom, get out. So ask your child. And if they're not old enough, then I think you should probably just find some age-appropriate games to play that they can all play together. That's all I got on that one. I don't have a lot of kids. Not that 4 is a lot. I mean, God bless you. That's wonderful. I wish I could have done that. Okay. Is anything else?
Yeah. They say, well, just for your information, the ages of the boy girl are 14, 13, 8, and 7.
Oh, wonderful.
So you have some, it seems like you ask them how you could better serve them. I think they're old enough to answer
Absolutely.
that question.
They can communicate. They know exactly what they want. Absolutely. So I would sit down with them each individually and ask them, how can I please you? I'm really committed to pleasing you, and please let me know how that would look in your opinion. And then make sure you let them know how you like to be pleased too, by the way, okay? It's a two-way street. Yeah.
You don't want to forget that one.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Okay, anything else? No? Okay. All right, so let's see, we're going to be wrapping it up now, so if anybody has any questions, we'd love to take this opportunity to have you ask those questions. Okay. I really would like to commend those of you who tuned in today, and I said before, I really get that you're committed to transforming this area of your life in terms of crutching. And the most important thing is just remember that your crutch is just a crutch. Your crutch will only become your leg when you forget that you have legs. So crutch for as long as you need to, drop it when you don't need it anymore. And I really look forward to seeing you guys again next week. So thank you for tuning in. And this will be available on www.troybyer.com, my website, if you'd like to review it. Please invite your friends to come and join us next week. I will be on the Steve Harvey morning show this Thursday, 9:30 PST, Pacific Standard Time. So please tune in. I'll be giving advice and discussing the next key 3, which is you are not your circumstances. So please be sure to tune in next week for You Are Not Your Circumstances, and you can catch an early bit of that on the Steve Harvey Show this Thursday on K-Day. If you're in Los Angeles, that's the radio station.
Troy, really
Yes.
quick, I'd like you just to remind viewers when this X-Free webinar is on.
Yes, absolutely. We are on every Tuesday night. It's Tuesdays with Troy. Every Tuesday at 6:30 PST. And then the Steve Harvey Show is every Thursday morning at 9:30 PST. Okay, and I'm available during the week via my website, and the book is available also. This is my book. It's X-Free, 9 Keys to Freedom After Heartbreak. It's available on the website, and we just got the ebook in now as well. So be sure to check that out. Okay, that's it. You guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to stay online for a little bit in case any questions come up at the last minute. So you can feel free to go ahead and type those in if you have some last minute, I forgot to ask her questions. But otherwise, thank you so much for your time and your attention, and thank you for your commitment to having an extraordinary life and allowing me to support you with that. It's truly a privilege. Thank you.